So thanks for the introduction and welcome to today's presentation of tooz technologies. I want to talk about what we've been working on since Last Photonics West in the last year. And I think we achieved a lot in terms of scaling our technology and developing a process how to sell our technology in smart glasses with integrated prescription. So first, a little recap what our CEO Kai Ströder has talked about on Last Photonics West. The focus of his presentation was the consumer perspective on smart glasses. And we think the technology must be unobtrusive and it must be able to be worn all day in public without any restrictions. And to achieve that via tooz technologies, we start from the other end. We don't start from the technology and somehow try to fit it into prescription glasses. We start with prescription glasses and the normal prescription lens and try to fit in technology. And then we scale it up to achieve an acceptable price point that will, in our view, trigger consumer adoption. Let's first also understand how our technology works. So as said, we start with a standard ophthalmic lens. So this is a polycarbonate ophthalmic lens with some additions that are fully integrated. First, it's a freeform prism for incoupling the light. So we attach a display here in the back directly to the lens. And then the light from the display comes in, is reflected in internal freeform surfaces, goes through the curved waveguide in total internal reflection and is outcoupled at a freeform Fresnel combiner towards the user's eye that you find here somewhere behind the lens. So with this basic technology, we think we are in a good starting position for scaling and selling glasses based on this technology. So at tooz, we control all core enablers of the technology in-house. I'll talk in a minute about what that is. And we have a pilot production line that's up and running and helps us to drive yield up and COGS down. And for selling, we have derived a way to integrate RX into the lens and make it fit for all-day use. And we think it's also key to tie into existing sales channels of ophthalmic lenses and normal glasses to be able to have a seamless experience for the buyer of such glasses. So if I talk about the scale and our internal processes, I think anybody who develops glasses and optics for AR will have a strong optical design and simulation team, but we complement it with a tool shop that's able to build the tools to make the glasses. And as our lens is polycarbonate, the core process is injection molding. So that we develop the tools in-house and we even do the final ultra precision surfaces inside the tool in our own ultra precision machining shop. Then we have our pilot line with some customized production equipment that's tailored to our process, and we have a metrology department that helps to control the production process and optimize it until it's ready to be transferred to a mass production partner that then doesn't need all this metrology because we transfer him a turnkey stable production process. Let me walk you through the 7 key steps of our production process. So first, we start with the injection molding part. And you see here our tool is a 2-cavity tool, so we get 2 lenses at the same time. And after injection molding, all optical surfaces are in place and there's no adjustment needed, nothing later on. So we have basically the optical system made after this process. So the next step is that we apply some optical coatings, dielectric coatings, to these surfaces that ensure that the functionality and the final light efficiency is achieved. So after this step, we have a fully functional optical engine. But as you can see here, the Fresnel surfaces, the combiner is still very visible, so it's not yet an ophthalmic lens. So next step is to make sure the See-through functionality in the ophthalmic lens is also achieved. So we basically hide the Fresnel inside the lens. So we attach a polycarbonate sheet on the other side. And after this process, we have a full standard ophthalmic lens, still without prescription. But this lens, where all the optical surfaces are inside, can then be further processed on standard ophthalmic lens handling equipment that any manufacturer of ophthalmic lenses has. So we, for example, apply hard coating. You see it's a dip coating. All the lenses are made scratch resistant in this process, and we also apply AR coating. We even have a photochromic layer that we can add so the lenses turn dark in the sun, or we just provide normal sun lenses with it. And after this process, you can have already have built smart glasses without prescription. But now the key part to add the prescription is done. Again, also on standard equipment. We basically, in the previous process, we generated what in this industry is called a puck that can be surfaced with the surfacing equipment that's used in this industry to make very individualized lenses. So we have the full optical system in place now. So the last bit is to attach the display, and in our current I think I forgot a little step, which is basically making this lens now to the right shape that fits to the frame you want to use. So the beauty is we can also use a standard etching machine for ophthalmic lenses and cut this raw lens into any shape and achieve a lot of different options for users' frames. And then the final step is attaching the lens. And currently we use a holder where we basically attach here a high-end display. We use a micro organic LED display, full color with high brightness. It has between 4,000 and 5,000 nits on the display, and with the current efficiency of the waveguide, we get about 1,000 nits outcoupled to the user's eye. So in the last year, we have produced more than 10,000 optical engines, shipped them to our manufacturing partners, and we were able to prove that the target COGS we started with in our plans are achievable, and our pilot cell can produce 1 lens per square foot per month in an 8-hour shift. So you see, you can scale by more square footage or more shifts or more months, obviously. So we think we are ready for mass market with. Next, I want to talk about how to best sell smart glasses in the market and what properties of the technology makes this more easy or a little bit more difficult to achieve. Let's start again with our notion that for selling smart glasses, it's best if they are like normal glasses that have the enhanced functionality of a virtual image. Using polycarbonate as we do it, you have a certain advantage because it provides already a good basis for adding prescription. Because normal polycarbonate lenses can be surfaced on a standard RX equipment, and that can also be done with our lens, as you have seen before. And it provides a natural protection because it's a very robust, unbreakable material, so it protects your eye and it blocks out certain wavelengths, so your eye is also UV protected. Other properties can best be understood if we compare our technology to the dominant concept in the market, which is a planar waveguide made of glass with holographic in-coupling and out-coupling of the light. So the light is guided in total internal reflection. It has certain advantages in terms of eye box and field of view by allowing pupil replication. We, on the other hand, we have a curved waveguide where we also guide the light with total internal reflection, but due to the curvature, we introduce asymmetric aberrations, especially astigmatism, and that has to be corrected by the freeform surfaces we have embedded in the waveguide, which works pretty well. And the benefit of it is that the curvature already is a base curve that allows for correction naturally. And it also has certain other advantages for everyday use that I want to show you in a video that we have produced comparing these two technologies. So first of all, you see our waveguide, which is already cut with a standard edging machine into the shape of a frame. And here you see the planar waveguide with the holographic structures embedded that guide the light. First of all, to use it outside, it has to work in sun and in rain. And you see already here in the planar waveguide, under certain angles, you capture sunlight and you see the holographic structures light up in the sun, which blocks your view of the outside and also looks a bit strange from the outside, while we don't have these structures that can capture the light. So you don't see anything in our waveguide in comparison. And after sunshine comes rain. So what happens in the rain? On the holographic waveguide, the total internal reflection breaks down. So the light goes into the raindrop, and due to the curvature of the raindrop, you generate ghost images that are basically also visible in the image and that overlay the normal image. So it gets blurry and you can't read it anymore. At least we tried with the waveguides we tried, it happened like that. And in our waveguide, as it's optimized to work also underwater, you don't have any effect on the virtual image from the rain. You just have the standard effect of the surroundings that you see distorted through the raindrops, which also happens when you use no normal eyewear. And I think I already mentioned the protective function. So glass is easy to break, while our waveguide survives such a treatment. And that's why it can be used for protective glasses as well. Of course, for the glass waveguide, this can also be solved by adding a protective layer of plastic on both sides, but it's an additional step to do that. So let's talk about prescription and why is it that our waveguide enables this easier. So initially our lens was a little bit bigger than the planar waveguide, but if you add prescription, you can use the natural curvature we have already, and just by backside surfacing or adding correction lenses on the backside, you get the prescription you need. On the planar waveguide, you normally have to add a layer on both sides to get to the same effect we have here. If you don't do it, just do it on one side, normally you get the correction only with the central viewing axis. And if you look to the sides, you get a distorted image. That's why you need to add something on both sides. So while we started with a little disadvantage of thickness at higher negative diopters, we compensate for this and get a slimmer and lighter waveguide that also looks more natural in a frame. And there's another complication, because that's not all. As due to the same effect that the rain creates some problems with the planar waveguide, adding material on both sides also only works if you have an air gap in between, which makes the lens also a little bit thicker and potentially heavier. And as I've shown already on the first slides, many solutions in this market separate for color. So you get really a big stack that also needs alignment. We don't have this. We have all in one piece, and we add prescription either by backside surfacing or by adding stock layers for defined prescription. So let me summarize what makes the tooz RX process so easy. We have already a curved lens that where prescription can be naturally embedded. We intend to produce stock optical engines for certain corrective powers, and we produce pucks for individual backside surfacing where you can do any prescription. And you can do that with the standard equipment that's used in the ophthalmic industry. So once you have the option to have such a prescription, waveguide, how do you sell it to a consumer? And we think consumers expect to buy these glasses at their eye care professional, but they will also expect them to be available online and in consumer electronics retail. So it's a 3-channel approach that we want to serve. And I think if you buy glasses, normally you start with selecting your preferred frame design. And as we are able to cut the lens into different shapes, we can accommodate a variety of frame designs with one optical engine. Then we have an eye box size of about 6 millimeters. So to cover all PDs, we think we need to offer 2 to 3 versions of the glasses, so small, medium, and large, or just small and medium, or small and large. And you can try this out in the CE retail store or at the ACP. If you buy online, we have a simple tool to estimate your PD as we have 6 millimeters tolerance. It doesn't have to be super precise, and it works pretty well online. And then you receive your glasses by email, or you take them with you immediately, and that is all valid if you don't need prescription. But we talked so much about prescription, so how do you add prescription in the end? And I think at the eye care professional, you have the normal process of getting PD measured. Then we make the glass, send it to the eye care professional, and he gets the lens fit for you. In the other 2 channels, you are already at home with your glasses without prescription, and you have to provide the RX data. So you have to get it measured somewhere, or you know it just from being an owner of glasses and knowing the prescriptions they have. You can then just order a prescription lens online, receive it within 24 hours, and swap the lens at home. And that looks counterintuitive. How can you swap a lens in this optical system? And it's enabled by our technology because we have very relaxed tolerances for display positioning relative to the lens. So we made a design that's tolerant against tilt and decenter. And you can see here as a measure, we have the spot size, and our spot size is already below the resolution of the display. So you can see individual pixels, and that doesn't change much if you don't perfectly place the lens. And the advantage is if we don't need to align image for left and right eye, because we provide the image only on one eye. So the exact position might change if the lens is slightly differently positioned relative to the display, but you still see a sharp and good image. And here you see how the lens can be clicked in and out, and the display is already in the frame. So you just position the lens relative to the display. And that's how you swap your non-prescription lens with prescription. So with that, I want to end my presentation. And just as a last remark, I want to tell you that our glasses that I also wear today are already on sale in China and will be available in the EU and US soon. And since quite some time, we already sell our reference design for an optical engine. That's also integrated in these glasses, but as I told you, it can be cut to any shape, and we are happy to receive requests if you want to build your own smart glasses, and we'll help you to integrate it in your own solution. And as a last thing, of course, you can contact us, but there will be another talk from our CEO, Kai Ströder, as part of the Highlight Fireside Chat series of Bernard. And later this year, he will talk about our roadmap and what we intend to do with our technology in the future. Thanks for your time. Now I'm ready for questions.